Good evening and welcome to ITV Gold. Today we have the honor of speaking with three luminaries of Indian classical music, flautist Rakesh Chaurasia, tabla maestro Anubrata Chatterjee, and Carnatic flautist Shashank Subramanyam. They will be performing in a musical tribute to Zakir Hussain, a concert celebrating the life and legacy of the legendary tabla virtuoso presented by the Tillis Center for the Performing Arts and the Indo-American Arts Council on May 4th. Let's delve into their musical journeys and the significance of this tribute. Welcome to ITV Gold.
Namaskar.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaskar. We'll start with you, Rakesh ji. Being the nephew and disciple of the legendary Hari Prasad Chaurasia, how has this mentorship shaped your musical path?
Well, I feel myself blessed and fortunate to be born in such a family where the flute was already there. Uh, Generally, I have not seen and I've not heard Lord Krishna, but for me, my guru Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasia is Krishna. So whatever
Wow.
inspiration I've got from him, and his blessings have brought me till here so far in music career, and there's much more ahead I have to reach. So this was the journey, and because of him, listening to him all the time, I have chosen to pick up this instrument and make my companion throughout my life.
Mm-hmm. Are you married?
Yes.
Okay. And what does your spouse feel about your other companion?
Uh, Little bit jealous because I stay with my companion more than her, and because I travel everywhere, and it's always next to my heart and next to my lips.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Anybody would be jealous, I can say that. So we're just warming up. So coming to Anubrata ji, as the son of tabla maestro Pandit Anindo Chatterjee and a disciple of Padma Bhushan Prakash Ghosh ji, how have these influences molded your approach to tabla?
Being born in the house of such a legend, you in the first place, you're very blessed, and you get to see what it takes to be on stage or to perform at the highest level. So you get to learn a lot of things the way they are, and it's a great thing. I mean, to be born in that house, to be learning from my father, and to be having him around even to this day to guide me in my
Mm-hmm.
career in my music is the biggest blessing.
Mm-hmm. So, do you feel that you were gifted, or do you think you were privileged and you could take your father as your teacher?
Well, I definitely think I was privileged because, just your inroads to the world of classical music becomes much easier to start with. But
Mm-hmm.
then when you were into the music, it just like Bollywood or any other world, if you're the son or a nephew of a great maestro, people try to compare you and judge you based on that. So it's initially very easy, but then later on to get established, it's a little more tough than the rest.
Mm-hmm. And do you have your own notes or something that you could say that you performed and this comes from inside, maybe as an inspiration, or were you just following your dad's footsteps?
Well, I mean, as all musicians, we all follow our guru's footsteps and, father's footsteps. But then, in the world of tabla, as we are attributing it to the great Ustad Zakir Hussain ji, I think he's a global guru to all musicians, all percussionists, and especially all tabla players.
Mm-hmm.
As a child, I have idolized him, and even to this day, whenever I touch my instrument, I remember him every moment alongside my father.
Shashankji, starting your public performances at the age of 6 is remarkable. What drew you to the bamboo flute, and how did your early training influence your style?
Quite inspired by his practicing the flute at home. But then based on the advice of the legendary T.R. Mahalingam, who was one of the phenomenal gurus of the flute in Carnatic music. My training was under vocal maestros. So that kind of inspired me to create a newer flute playing style, different
Wow.
from all the contemporary maestros of those times.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, and then further on, so I learned under Palghat K.B. Narayanaswamy, one of the doyens of Carnatic music. And I also had rhythm training under a few Mridangam gurus, and later Hindustani music training under Pandit Jasraj.
Wow. So, were you not inclined towards biochemistry and you actually levitated towards the flute?
Well, I levitated towards music very early on.
Mm-hmm.
My father says that I was quite attracted to music when I was 9, 10 months old.
Oh my
But
God.
then
Wow.
he taught me music more as a language.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time when I got into 5, 6, 7 years of my age, I don't think that I had a choice because my father was quite passionate about music and
Mm-hmm.
already chosen my profession, like
Mm-hmm.
in many homes um, in India or elsewhere. So when I started, in fact, I gave my first concert in the United States when I was 11 years old.
Wow.
So 12 years old, sorry. So in from those times, I mean, there was nothing to look back. I had a career. I was already well set into this journey. Although, of course, it was a lot of hard work for the further 20 years
Mm-hmm.
in my career. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still a hard work. No matter, I've been around for 40 years now. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So you started like whistling in the class or, with the bunch of students. How would you practice, in your school or, if you were bored?
My father tells me that I used to take any of the cylindrical objects which resembled a flute and was mimicking it with proper fingering. Although I was unable to produce a sound on the instrument when I was 4 years old, 5 years old. So, um, but yes, I'm quite good at whistling too. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one way of trying some things.
Do you still whistle?
Very well.
Rakesh ji, your collaboration with Zakir Hussain on the Grammy winning album As We Speak was
Mhm.
monumental. Could you share
Yeah.
insights into the experience?
Uh, Zakir Bhai was the key for me to get involved with the maestro Bela Fleck and maestro Ed Meyer, and made me meet them. And then we had a jam session for, I still remember that day, from morning 10 o'clock till evening 7 p.m. We was just jamming, and I didn't know what was happening. But basically, they were checking that how this instrument flute can merge with our kind of music.
Mm-hmm.
So we did all kind of combinations and sharing the phrases from my Indian side to towards them, uh, and then eventually they decided to have me on board, and uh, but we had quite a bit tour in America. We toured North America for maybe 1.5 years. We did 3 or 4 tours, and then we decided to record that album. So in between the tour, we used to go to Nashville and record it. And the best thing about it, there's no post-production, there's no overdub, nothing. So that was a different style of recording. We recorded
Wow.
like each song like mm, 7, 8 times, and whichever came best, it was there in the album. And I'm quite fortunate to have the nomination in the same year, and then winning the Grammy also in the same year.
Of
So
course.
this is the one of the most beautiful gift what I've got,
Mm-hmm.
achievement. Yeah.
Share some memories with Zakir Hussain.
There are lots. Means it was always a learning process, when used to share the stage with him. I remember very clearly the first concert when I got the opportunity to perform with him in Scotland, and I have already performed with him with my guru, Pandit Rakesh Chaurasia, when I used to accompany him. And I used to admire the chemistry what they used to have in between, and I was always used to think that maybe in this life I would get the opportunity to play with him,
Mm-hmm.
doing a solo duo. And when it came to me, I was like, I couldn't sleep for 2 nights. So why? Wow, I've got a date, and especially first concert to play with him in Scotland. And
Mm-hmm.
you'll not believe there's such a big generation gap. The whole concert I played with my eyes shut down. I couldn't
Wow.
I couldn't see. I mean, it's because that was my dream for that life.
Hmm.
And then the very friendly, he told me that is something fell in your eyes. Why you clothing, or you don't like to see me while performing? I was trying to see at you and interact with my tabla, and so then this was all learning process. How to interact on stage, what to do, how to do, and
Hmm.
he have taught me a lot of things rhythmically and uh, you know. Mean, influence you on stage what to do next because we don't do our written music on stage. It's all about improvisation. So it's like a playing chess board
Mm-hmm.
on stage. The what move you are doing, what move the other person is doing, and then you get to learn, and everything is spontaneous on stage. So
Hmm.
these things have really he has influenced me a lot, and I
Mm-hmm.
could see a little bit changes in my playing, and he has done for everybody, not
Mm-hmm.
me.
Wonderful. Anubrata ji, you've collaborated with various artists across genres. How do you balance traditional tabla techniques with contemporary styles?
Well, I guess tabla, the instrument is such that it gives you, a lot of scope to collaborate and to mix with various genres. And one of the biggest inspirations as far as mixing tabla with different genres is Ustad Zakir Hussain ji. And especially, on that front, he has inspired all of us. He has given examples of such fine quality collaborative work. And
Mm-hmm.
when you have learned from, a great legend like my father, Pandit Anubrata Chatterjee, and if you have the roots right, and if you have an open mind, if your guru has open mind, then I
Mm-hmm.
think you can, you should be able to collaborate, and then, it's like a
Mm-hmm.
learning process. You learn as you do.
What is your favorite
That's what.
genre personally?
Well, apart from classical music, I enjoy jazz. I like pop music. So it's hard to say if I have one favorite,
Mm-hmm.
but I enjoy a lot of things, including like hip hop and stuff, the lyrical part of it. It's fun.
Nobody's talking about Bollywood.
No, I mean, Bollywood is, in fact, Rakesh ji, who's there, has played in so many memorable songs
Mm-hmm.
in Bollywood. So I think he should speak about it. He has
Yes.
ample memories.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Well, I've started my career basically from Bollywood and was fortunate to play for the great duo couples, Lakshmikant Paralji, Kalanji Anandji,
Wow.
little bit for R.D. Varmanji also on his last movies. And then recently, Anu Malik, Ismail Darbar, Anand Milind, Jatin Lalit, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody. But it's got to learn a lot because
Mm-hmm.
Chris, how much to apply where? And I think the people who have from the classical genre also who has worked for film industry have a different approach towards the performance level. If you see my guru Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia, Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma ji, Rais Khan Sahab, Sultan Khan Sahab, who has played in Ram Naran ji, in fact. in film industry, their approach for classical also made a huge difference, and I have got to learn a lot, and I've played, and I've also got for Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Sahab when he was
Wow.
doing the first film, Aur Pyar Ho Gaya, his composition. So we used to sit there and do lot of rehearsals. So got to learn a lot of things.
Wonderful.
What is the precise playing.
Hmm. Tell us some of your favorite songs you've played.
Uh, I've played for Sanjay Leela Bhansali on his whole film. His thought process was very difficult. He used to sit in the recording and then decide what piece to keep and what not. I can use this or not. Aur Pyar Ho Gaya when I played for Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Sahab. And for Leela Bhansali, I liked the Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam, all that songs. I
Wow.
have played in every songs. And then Umrao Jan and what was the last film, Anubrata?
The last film, I mean, hear a lot of beautiful flute in a lot of films. I think last film, I don't. You're too busy to work in Bollywood now.
Bajirao Mastan.
Acha, Bajirao.
Bajirao
Wow.
Mastan, yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I have heard some amazing concerts of Zakir ji with Rakesh ji, and also with Shashank ji and Shashank ji and Zakir ji. In fact, there's a beautiful clip on YouTube
Mm.
of them
Yeah,
jamming.
from
So
Trivandrum.
from Trivandrum, which is like a
Wonderful.
Yeah.
viral thing.
Hmm. Shashankji, you've integrated vocal and instrumental styles in your flute playing. Could you elaborate on this unique approach?
Well, it was quite natural because my learning was all vocal through vocal music. So it was quite easy for me to do that because in India, especially the southern Indian music, it is more known as a Gaiki style of music. So very rarely does an instrumentalist succeed if he didn't know a good quality of vocal music.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, it was quite natural for me to learn music under a vocalist,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it was quite interesting that way. So it was more or less quite a natural process. The
Mm-hmm.
way that's the reason I didn't learn flute from anyone. I was mostly self-taught as far as the
Wow.
instrument is concerned. So it kind of I think naturally fell into place that I could translate what I learned through my vocal gurus
Mm-hmm.
onto my instrument.
Mm.
And rest is, as Rakeshji was explaining earlier, learning music is a small segment of our life, maybe, or process. The rest of the process is learning on the job, just as in any other profession for that matter.
Right.
So, our early exposures to various stages, various great musicians whom we played with, and various situations that you're thrown into, everything teaches you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all products of certainly the experience that came through so many of these aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Um, whether it be playing with jazz musicians one day, be it so my experience with Ustad ji was similar to Rakesh ji's. So we all have gone through that kind of a process
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
every single day. So
It's like I think music is like an ocean, and everybody depend on how deep situation they are swimming, and then you need to have your own way how to get it out, basically. So it's every day we perform. Nothing is decided. So what
Mm-hmm.
kind of audience we are going to get, what to present, where. Sometimes we decide something else on in the green room, and then we go on the stage and we say, well, this is not the right raga or the piece is what we have chosen. So some lot of time we have to change on the spot. So
It's
we
very
Mm-hmm.
have to be
spontaneous.
prepared for everything, every
Wow.
situation.
Mm-hmm. And
That's how it is.
mostly people won't be able to tell the difference. You guys are so great.
We
You can just do
we act it
anything.
well. We do our acting well.
I see
Yeah,
that this is like an exam, you know. Every day you give an exam, and with the applause and appreciation with the audience, you come to know the result, how the exam has gone through, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, in that is true, but then also, um, with all the talent and training, there could still be a moment in your career where you have no opportunities to succeed or use these what you have practiced or what you have trained for.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I think it's very important equally to practice on one hand, but to also get the right opportunity at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So for a good 5 to 10 years, if you are not
Mhm.
getting the right push in the field, it can also make you a bit obsolete compared to the
True.
others who have an ability to play every other
Mm-hmm.
day. So it's very important for musicians to be rolling,
Mm-hmm.
rather than it doesn't matter how many hours you practice at home
Mm-hmm.
or under various situations, you have to test it out in a real environment. So
Mm-hmm.
this is very important for artists.
But
Uh,
that sounds true for any person in any field, if he's an
That's true.
artist,
I mean,
Yes,
right?
very much, very
keeping
much,
keeping
and
keeping
more so in
class.
performing arts because it
Yeah.
is you're dealing with the audience one on one,
Right.
and these audiences are diverse. They have varied interests, they're from varied backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
In a city like New York or San Francisco, London, we have a multifaceted audience. It
Mm-hmm.
could be from your own community which knows music. It could also be from communities who are absolutely new to the music. So, I mean, there are a lot of variables.
I mean, keeping your class, keeping the skill aside, you have to be very lucky and be blessed. So my father says that don't try to be the best musician, try to be the most loved musician. Sometimes when you're
Wow.
loved, a lot of things happen, which
Mm-hmm.
other musicians who could be more capable or equally capable as you will not get that. So
Mm-hmm.
there will be some. In fact, the great Ustad Zakir Hussain ji used to say that. I mean, when I moved to Mumbai, I once asked him that, what do you think about my move? He said, like, there could be 20 amazing tabla players, but if you're good enough and if you have the patience, you could be, one more.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I want to share, I mean, with Zakir ji, apart from him being a global guru, I've been like, because of my father, we had a very personal connection. One, like, just before his demise, this is July, he came to India for a show, and I
Mm-hmm.
was lucky enough to be performing just before him. And my tabla, my instrument, was not sounding the best, and I was aware of it. And he was sitting in the front row signing autographs and people going crazy, but still he had the
Mm-hmm.
alertness to understand that I was not comfortable. And then in about 15 minutes, I see he has sent his own personal tabla with his
Wow.
student right on stage. So, these things are very, very blessed for me.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
Okay.
Indo-American, the organization,
Yeah.
me and Rakesh ji, we have been part of their music projects. I've played with Ustad Amjad Ali Khan Sahab, and I think Rakesh ji, one time he had his band perform in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So we are grateful
Okay.
for them, to them, for the
Great.
opportunity.
Talk about Zakir Hussein's impact on global music. Thank you, Rakesh ji, Anubrata ji, and Shashank ji, for sharing your insights and memories. A musical tribute to Zakir Hussain promises to be a heartfelt homage to a maestro who bridged musical traditions and touched hearts worldwide. To our viewers, don't miss this extraordinary concert on Sunday, May 4th at 6 p.m. at the Krasnov Theatre, Tillis Center for the Performing Arts. For tickets and more information, visit Tillis Center's website or Ticketmaster. Stay tuned to ITV Gold for more cultural insights and interviews. Good night.